So if you want a car chase, do you guys want to throw the setup at me? What you've got, so rather than me come up with something this time?
Well, all I know is that I have literally the base drive, so I hope you have some drive skill.
I'm just looking now. I've got 40% in drive, so that's above base. So I think we're good to go. Do we want to be?
I would love if it happened like this in the real world. That like when we're going somewhere, Mike, it's like which one of us has got the better drive skill?
Well, I don't know. Pretty much that happens every time I get in the car with my wife. So it's like, hey, I think maybe you should drive because I suck at driving.
Right. Fair enough.
Do we want to be the people doing? Do we want to be being chased?
I think we need to be being chased.
If we and are we in one car or two?
One car because I can't drive.
Okay, so I take it. I'm driving a car. You're the passenger, and Paul is going to decide what's chasing us because it could be another vehicle. It could be
a dark young.
Do we want to? Could be a flying horror. I don't know. Whatever you like. Really.
Maybe we should stick with another vehicle just to illustrate the vehicle chase. But I always like the idea of vehicles being chased by dark young, but that's kind of cool.
So, I guess the setup may be, Paul, you can change this, but I mean, we are maybe we've been doing a stakeout on this cult den, and we're not very good investigators. We've kind of played our hand a little early, and we think we're laying low in the vehicle, watching the warehouse where the cultists are, but we've been spotted. And word has got out, and some cultists have come around the corner behind us. They're hoping they're going to just pull up behind us, and of course, when we look back in the mirror and we see their faces and we know that they're the cultists, I'm just going to start the car and drive. That's kind of the setup, I guess. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
Sounds good. Yeah. Should we say you've got like a standard car?
Yeah, I just think a normal average family car that way.
So it's a move speed of 14, looking at the vehicle reference chart. So I think you're going to hear some banging, and let's say for dramatic purposes your back windscreen gets knocked out.
Whoa. I think we need to move. So, okay. So what do we do, Paul? We work out.
So the first thing is the speed rolls.
We interrupt this program to bring you a rules breakdown. Establishing the chase. Speed roll. This roll adjusts each participant's move rating for the duration of this chase. Every vehicle and character has a movement rating. A vehicle's speed depends on a driver's skill, while a character's foot speed depends on their physical condition. Each participant in the chase makes a con roll, if on foot or other self-propelled mode, to test his or her physical condition and endurance. Drivers make a drive auto roll for vehicles to test their handling of the vehicle. On a success, no change to move rating for the duration of this chase. On an extreme success, +1 to move rating for the duration of this chase. On a failure, -1 to move rating for the duration of this chase. Page 132. And now, back to the action.
So this time, rather than a con roll, this is based on Mike's driving skill.
So I've got my 40 in drive, and I rolled a 68, so I failed my drive.
Okay, so we reduce your movement speed by 1 down to 13, from 14 to 13.
Yeah.
So you're not really on the ball. You're not really feeling tip top today. You're a bit distracted by being shot at. You're putting your foot down, but maybe you're not in as good a control as you are sometimes. And they are, let's see now. They've got an old pickup truck that they're jumping into, which has also got a movement speed of 14. But there's one guy in the front and a couple of guys in the bed of the pickup leaning over the cab. One of them's got a shotgun. Yep. And they're just, as you tear off down the street in your car, they're just their headlights come on and they're coming after you. So you rolled a 13. I'm going to roll their movement speed. Okay. So, yep, let's give their guy a movement, a drive skill of 40. Oh, and they failed as well. So he got 44. So they're also on 13. So that puts you on equal speeds. So again, there was the chance if things had gone a little different and you had made your roll and I'd failed mine, you'd just be away. There would be no chase. You'd be heading off into the sunset. But the chase is on. So first thing I do is draw down some locations. So just looking at our whiteboard here.
Paul, how do you figure out whether you're going to allow them to start one space ahead or two spaces ahead?
So generally I put it to 2 just to make it an interesting chase. So it doesn't have to begin exactly at the beginning of the chase. And what I mean by that is I can cut now as keeper. I could say, okay, as we start the action of the chase, you're now like a couple of blocks down the street and you can see them in your rear window coming after you. And that's where I set them 2 locations behind.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of arbitrary, but it just sets that bit of distance.
However you feel you want the chase to go, if you want to be like quicker or if you want it to feel more tension, you can kind of base it off of that.
Yeah, you could just set it to 1 if you so wish.
Okay.
One in theory presupposes it would be the chase will be quicker, because you've got less catch up to do. 2 is a kind of, as Paul says, the kind of standard. So if you wanted to just, not spend too long on the chase, and maybe just have it 1 chase location behind.
And of course, the locations aren't of a fixed distance, in measurement. They're somewhat elastic units of measurement. Okay, so I'm putting down a dot here. This is the, we'll just put C for cultists. And I'm putting them 2 dots behind you. So here is, I'll just, as Mike's character is behind the wheel, I'll just put M. Okay. Yep, good.
And we've both got the same movement. We've both just got 1 movement action. Is that right, Paul?
So you both have 1 movement action. And they have the higher dex because Mike, you're on a dex of 45. And of course, this will go on the driver's dex. Madam Blackstone, Nathan, your character has a dex of 65. So potentially, if she's got a gun or wants to do something, it will be her turn before it's the driver's turn. But maybe she's not doing anything. That's just up to you.
I would like to scream at Mike, step on the gas, step on the gas. And
I am.
While I'm doing that, I'm looking out for obstacles that we might see to help possibly give him a bonus to his driving to help that. Is that something that I could do?
Passengers. Passengers do not make a speed roll and do not have movement actions. They may act once on their turn in the dex order. Typically, vehicle passengers might use firearms or throw things out of the car to obstruct those following. 1 passenger can assist the driver with navigation, reading maps, and offering advice on how to negotiate hazards. If a passenger uses their action to assist the driver in this way, they may make 1 spot hidden or navigate skill roll. If successful, on the vehicle's next move, the vehicle can accelerate once with 1 fewer penalty die. See Petal to the Metal, page 139. Thus, the vehicle might advance up to 3 locations with no penalty die, or up to 5 with 1 penalty die. Page 142. And now, back to the action.
It sure is, yes. So spot hidden, I'm going to call for you.
Okay. Let's see, what is this? This is a 17, which is actually I believe a stream. No, it's a hard. Missed it by 3 points, 4 points. Yep.
Okay, so you're acting as wingman, looking out for hazards. So Mike can now when you're moving forward in a vehicle, if you want to accept greater risk, you can drive, perhaps more recklessly at greater speed, but you've got the bonus of your co-pilot, if you like, looking out for any hazards, that you can do that more effectively. So if you want to go as fast as you possibly can,
I want to get away, so I'm really putting my foot down and accelerating. I mean, I've only got one move actions, but I'm going to accelerate that, one step if I can. Yeah. So
you can potentially go up to 5 locations with that one movement action in one round.
Let's just, they're shooting at us with shotguns. I want to get away. Let's go full metal to the floor.
Pedal to the metal. When spending a movement action to move a vehicle forward, instead of moving just one location, the vehicle can accelerate and move between 2 and 5 locations for the same cost of one movement action. The listed move speeds for vehicles are relatively low, only a few points above those of a pedestrian. Of course, vehicles can travel much faster than pedestrians. A vehicle has the option of accelerating. Any one of its movement actions can be spent to travel multiple locations. Traveling at higher speeds has its downside, of course, making hazards more difficult to negotiate. As normal, a driver can use one movement action to move one location. A driver can elect to move 2 or 3 locations with one movement action. Any hazards encountered have 1 penalty die applied to the skill rolls. A driver can elect to move 4 or 5 locations with 1 movement action. Any hazards encountered have 2 penalty dice applied to the skill rolls. The increase in speed must be announced prior to moving. Just as in real life, driving at speed is less risky if one has a good view of what lies on the road ahead. How far a driver can see at any time is wholly dependent on the situation and environment in which the case is taking place. In a crowded city, one might only be able to see a couple of locations ahead. 1d3 if you wish to determine it randomly. In the suburbs, one can see several locations ahead. 1d6 if you wish to determine it randomly. And in the country, on a straight road, one might see a considerable distance. 1d10 locations if you wish to determine it randomly. The keeper may not have determined what these upcoming locations are and should do so as required. Once a decision has been made to accelerate and travel a number of locations on one movement action, it cannot be retracted. The vehicle will travel the full distance, 2, 3, 4, or 5 locations, or until it fails a hazard roll. If a hazard roll is failed, the outcome is resolved, after which any further movement must be paid for and started afresh. Any penalty dice for acceleration should be applied to hazards, but usually not when breaking through barriers, for which increased speed can be beneficial. This increased speed can be used multiple times in one chase round. By putting the pedal to the metal, a car with 4 movement actions could potentially move 20 locations in one chase round. Page 139. And now, back to the action.
The fastest I can possibly go.
Yep. Now, obviously, you're heading down the street, going at speed in a town. You don't know what hazards are going to pop out or occur. So, especially at this speed, so you would normally get 2 penalty dice if you encounter a hazard because of the acceleration speed you're moving. But because of your passenger looking out for you and pointing out hazards, you'll only get 1 penalty dice on any hazards you encounter.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as we, I haven't planned this out. I didn't anticipate you fleeing off in your vehicle and being pursued by cultists. So, to be fair to everyone, rather than me just sort of arbitrarily stick a bunch of hazards in front of you, we're gonna make a roll. So, looking at the random hazards and barriers table on page 139, I'm gonna roll on that. In fact,
sudden hazards. Just because an area is free of hazards one moment does not mean that it will remain that way. A car may suddenly pull out. A pedestrian might run into the road without looking. Someone might come running around the corner from the opposite direction. A loose dog might assault a fleeing investigator, and so on. At any point in the chase round, either the keeper or a player may call for a group luck roll. If the luck roll is passed, events unfold in the player's favor. The players may dictate where and when a sudden hazard occurs. If the luck roll is failed, this indicates a sudden hazard for the investigators presented by the keeper. Sudden hazards should be of regular difficulty. Players and keepers should alternate in calling for luck rolls for sudden hazards. If the players call for a luck roll for a sudden hazard, they may not call for one again until after the keeper has called for one and vice versa. Either side may call for the first sudden hazard in a chase. If a chase is becoming a long drawn-out affair, the keeper may decide to raise the level of difficulty of sudden hazards. Page 139. And now, back to the action.
I'm going to ask Nathan to roll. So, Nathan, let's have a D100 roll. You want 59
20.
or below?
20.
Oh, okay. It's clear.
Excellent.
Now it flips to you to be able to sort of call for when you want a hazard or barrier roll. At any point during the game, that's kind of in your lap now.
Okay.
So, so you've moved 5 locations. So I'm just gonna record that on our little map here. So, Mike, what's going on in this scene that you've gone so far? Where have you headed?
Well, we've gone through, gone around the block, and I'm basically I see the main kind of artery out of the city into the countryside, and I see that it's clear. I've just caught the right time of day. The traffic's pretty empty. I've seen the stretch of road. I've put a foot down to get clear of the city limits and into the countryside, where hopefully, I'm so fast they're gonna get lost in the city behind me, or I can lose them, in the countryside. Maybe find some beaten track in the forest I can quickly turn into, so they lose me.
So I mean, they're just heading after you like crazy. I mean, you'd think they'd just let you go, Mike, but why are they after you so determinedly? What did you take, Nathan? What did Madame Blackstone take from the cultists' base there? What she got hidden away?
Well, she pulls out the ritual ceremonial dagger that she stole from the cultists that they need to complete their sacrificial rite with, and without this, they won't be able to do their evil deeds.
Ah, well, Mike, they'll stop at nothing to get this back.
Right,
so they too are they're gonna spend their 1 movement action to accelerate as much as they can, so that they can move forward 5 movement actions. Now they've got something of a disadvantage because their driver is on his own in the cab. I said the other 2 were in the back of the pickup, in the bed of the pickup. So it's going to be down to him. So that's what he's doing now. As I said, it's in the ball's in your court. If you want to call for some sort of random hazard or barrier, you can.
Yeah. So this would be a hazard that I need to navigate, but then they'll come up against. Is that right?
No, this could be a hazard that occurs in the road behind you, in front of them.
Okay. That's even better. So
like a child runs out for a ball to get the ball.
Yeah, I would like
exactly.
I'd like because on the way out of the city, it's actually over a river and a bridge, and it's one of them bridges that opens, to let the big boats through.
Right.
And I just, I saw it was green, and I went, flew over this bridge because I could see, and as I flew, I realized there's a boat coming. So at any minute, they're going to stop the traffic for the bridge.
Right.
I'm hoping that, the red light will come on and the bridge starts moving, and they're going to just get trapped there.
Well, this could be interesting. So shall I roll for it?
Yeah.
Or actually, Nathan, you roll for it again. So I want you to roll 59 or below, because that means it's clear and I can just charge on through.
32.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, the sirens start to sound. There's a horn sounding, and there's like an amber light, but the cultist just charges on through, and the bridge is maybe just starting to move a little bit. He breaks through the barrier. I'm going to just say for narrative purposes, and he's charging on after you with no delay.
Well,
there was no hazard there for him to risk.
I see him in the rearview mirror, and I curse and so you better get your gun out. They keep coming, and I continue.
So that was the end of round 1. We've both had an action each. We've both moved forward 5 movement locations, but that puts us still 2 locations behind you.
Okay, so I'm gonna, we're out in the countryside now. There's hills and trees and farms and various sort of tracks off. I can see there's like a wood coming up on the left and a farm, and I know the area, and I know just beyond that farm there's a track, a road that goes off, to the right, and I'm thinking, as they're still behind me, I'm gonna accelerate, or keep going as fast as I can. Sorry, and I'm gonna do like a handbrake turn right into this track, and hopefully kind of pull in, and they won't see that happen because it's kind of on a blind bend.
Okay, well, I'm going to just cut to Nathan here because Nathan's first in the dex order. So, that's what your driver's doing. Is there anything you would like to do as passenger?
Well, I'd like to be able to take a shot, but I unfortunately don't have my pistol out. So I'm going to have to spend this round, I guess, looking for my gun and getting it out to be able to lean out the window to take shots.
Well, I'm happy for you to grab your pistol out. I think I'd be happy for you to do that because, we're this moving multiple locations. I think it's fair enough. Yeah, okay. A bit of time is passing, and you're not doing anything else because you're not the one driving or anything like that. Right. So, yeah.
I will go ahead and lean out the window and take a shot with my pistol.
Okay, so you're firing from a moving vehicle. So I'm going to give you a penalty die because you're being thrown around, especially with Mike's driving and handbrake turns.
Let's see. For the first roll, it is a 22, and then the penalty part is, oh wow, look at that.
Oh,
a 10.
Oh.
So it was a not a hard success, unfortunately. It was just it was a hard success, sorry, because it was actually, no, you're right, it was a normal success. It would have been a hard success at 20.
Yep. And what were you targeting? I should have asked you that before
I'm just shooting.
Yeah.
Shooting at the car, at them.
Okay. So do you want to give me a damage roll?
Sure. The pistol would be, I'm sorry, I actually don't have a pistol listed down on this character.
Yeah, 1d10 as a
perfect pistol. It would be a 7 damage.
Okay. So damage against vehicles is taken in block because they can take quite a lot of damage, particularly from small caliber weapons. So they have a build. This vehicle has a build of 14, the pickup. So each whole 10 points of damage does 1 build of damage. So as things are, you've hit the vehicle, but not in a with enough damage to actually
do anything to stop it.
Do anything substantial.
Makes sense.
But I mean, potentially with an impale, an extreme success, then you could cause some damage to it.
Hit the engine block and
absolutely. So, it's your turn next, Mike. You've kind of established what you're doing. So, first off, you said you were turning into this side track, this rural track. Are you still like driving headlong at 5 locations per round, or are you dropping that back a bit? Because you're about to do quite a maneuver that is going to demand a driving roll.
Also, I'm not helping you out anymore, so
that's
you might
right.
get a penalty on that.
All right, in my head, obviously, the voice is saying, drive as fast as you can and turn. But the reality is, I will not throw caution to the wind. I will slow down because I'm not that, I know I'm not that good as behind the wheel. So
okay, so how many locations do you take moving
I slow
forward?
down to 3 locations rather than 5, which means I only get a 1 penalty rather than 2 penalties with the
That's
maneuver.
right. Yeah, you're still going fast. So any maneuvers you take have 1 penalty die on them. So as you take this 90-degree turn off the main road down this farm track, you're taking this corner with 1 penalty die. So I'm going to ask for a driving roll with a penalty die.
This is all right.
Crossing our fingers.
Okay, so the penalty was a 20, but my normal roll was a 40, but I rolled a 44, which is a fail by 4 points. If we're only using luck, then I'd change that. But okay, so I just failed it.
I mean, should we say for the purposes of this demonstration that we're not going to use luck, or?
So I don't mind.
Whatever you want to do.
I mean, normally I would allow for using luck, but I think it'd be interesting here to illustrate what fails mean. So
yes,
that's maybe you've used a lot of luck and you haven't got much, and
I've
maybe
got
you'd rolled a bit higher.
I'm not using it. Yeah, okay. So I just fail. So I rolled. I end up with a 44 on my driver 40, and with the penalty, I fail the roll to turn the corner sharply.
Oh, okay. So so you failed the roll there, Mike, the driving roll. I'm going to say this is a rural location. There aren't loads of obstacles. There's some post and rail fencing, wooden fencing, and an entrance to a farm track. So your vehicle smacks into some of the fencing, and I'm looking at the vehicular collisions table 6 on page 147. And I'm going to take it as most minor incident, most regular hazards. Actually, looking at this, that's maybe cosmetic only. So I think it's a bit more substantial than that. So I'm going to move it down to moderate incident. Yeah, that sounds more like it to me. So that's a 1d6 build damage to your vehicle. And I rolled a 2. So your vehicle had a build of 14. So that's now down to 12. So you've badly damaged the front wing of the vehicle and scratched up down the side, but nothing not substantial enough to stop the vehicle. However, failing a hazard roll like this can also set you back in movement actions. So Mike, do you want to roll a d6 and tell me, so a d3 essentially, and tell me how many movement actions you're going to lose?
So I rolled a 6, so -3 movement actions, I think. Yeah. Okay.
In that case, then I'm going to say you've actually smashed through the post and rail fence, and you've gone into the field, and you're in this muddy field, and you've kind of skidded and spun round. So you've not taken substantial damage, but you are now facing the opposite way, facing the cultists as they're heading towards you, and you've stalled the vehicle. So you're trying to get it going again and get back on the track. Now, really, if you rolled a 3 there, that's, as you only get 1 movement action per round, the cultists are coming up fast behind you. They may well get to you before you can actually get the vehicle out of the mud, because it's going to take you 3 rounds to negotiate that.
I've got a vision this could all turn a bit, cannonball run, and they spot us, the corner that I do a quick turn and end up on top of us.
Well, in the classic, like all those police chase videos that you see on TV, I can see you two bailing out of this car and running off. But so my cultists, they're now a total of 5 locations behind you. So yeah, I mean, they could catch up with you, and I've already said they're desperate to catch up with you. They probably, the driver's probably got 0 sands, so he's just gonna hurtle on towards you. So and he's going to hope that there are no deadly hazards between you and him. So he doesn't know that you've done this terrible maneuver and ended up in a field. So as far as he knows, you're getting away. So he's taking maximum risk again and trying to clear 5 locations. So now it's the ball is in my court because you were the ones we're using the
last.
Yeah, using the random locations thing. So there's that table for rolling random locations, and as keeper I can't just keep hitting that button. It swaps back and forth between us, and you had it last, so I now have it. So you know what, I'm not going to call for a random hazard. So
surprise!
I'm just gonna charge on up this well, I'm just going to charge on. So actually there is no major hazard on this road. We've said it's pretty quiet otherwise. So he charges on, and so he charges on. So he would move up, but he's not pulling into the track. He's on the main road. So I'm going to say that you, at the end of this round, you hear the screech of brakes on the main road as the pickup truck applies its brakes on the main road, and you can see out your side window the cultists reversing up, and one of them is jumping out of the back of the pickup and running over towards your car.
What's he got in his hand?
Pardon?
What's he got in his hand? He's
got a hatchet that he picked up out the back of the out the back of the pickup, because he didn't have time to get a gun, I guess. The driver's like turning the pickup round, and the guy with the shotgun is like banging on top of the pickup and pointing. So that was the end of round 2. It's now the start of round 3. You're stalled. Mike's trying to get the car started, and Madam Blackstone, what are you doing? Because again, there I thought, oh, this is it. The chase is over. But is it over, or are we about to switch to a chase on foot here?
Madam Blackstone is going to leap out of the car, or she's going to get out of the car because I have the jump skill, and then she's going to try to run through the mud out into the field, with no real direction other than to just try to save herself and get away from the cultists. And she's screaming for Mike to follow her, but he's still fiddling with the car until it's his turn.
Okay, so at this point, we're kind of switching from one mode of transport to another. So this is where I would ask Madam Blackstone, Nathan, to make a con roll for his speed roll for the chase.
And I got a 89, so I have failed my con.
So I think your movement rate originally was 8. Is it your movement
Correct.
rate on foot?
It's now 7.
So that drops to 7. What kind of shoes did she have on? Maybe she's lost one in the mud.
I'm always dressed to the nines, so I was in heels, and heels are not the best to run in fields, muddy fields. So I think that one of my heels just kind of got stuck down in the mud and broke off, and so now I'm just trying to hobble, run as fast as I can.
That's slowing you down a little, so that was your turn. It's then the cultists. So this one, he's I'm going to make, so he's not the driver, so we haven't made I'm going to make a speed roll for him, which he passes actually. So he is faster than you, which means, just getting that the wrong way around. So he has got a movement of 8. So right here on my pad, I would just be writing down, just kind of writing down a few quick notes here to say that Madam Blackstone is on a movement of 7. I'll call him the hatchet cultist.
The X-Man
has got a movement of 8, and I'm going to start up not No, I guess we can use the same little flow chart or row of dots, not really a flow chart, to track this. Yeah, I think we can. So Madam Blackstone, I'm going to just put you, yeah, let's put you on the map. So you would have one movement action. The cultist is going to have two. So I'm going to treat this as a new chase here, because we're moving from car to on foot. So there's a little complexity moving from one to the other here. So I just want to keep it nice and clear. So I'm going to put Madam Blackstone. I'm just going to start a new little row of dots down here. So I'm going to put MB for MB for Madam Blackstone. I'm going to put the cultist just jumping over the fence and chasing after you here. So I'm going to call him HC. Okay, so the cultist is chasing after you. I'm going to sort of leave that image there, and I'm going to cut to Mike and ask Mike what Mike's doing.
I'm seeing what's going on and hearing Adam Blackstone calling, follow me, and I see the hatchet wielding cultist chasing after her. I get out of the car and I run as quickly as I can towards Madam Blackstone to either hopefully get away or at least be there if the cultist catches up.
Okay, so you can give me a speed roll as well. So it's against your constitution.
Okay, my constitution is, I make a normal success, regular success with my move 7.
So you're both on movement 7. Okay, that keeps life simple. Now, obviously, here we've got, so I'm going to, you both bailed out pretty quick. Let's put you both on the same place. So I'll put Mike and Madam Blackstone on that dot. The hatchet cultist here. The truck is a bit behind. They were just reversing up. So let's kick off a round like this. Nathan, do you want to carry on this chase? Are you happy to do that? We've kind of departed from vehicles.
I think we're good. I think we're good here. I think because the cultist would have, he's a higher movement than us.
That's right.
So, and on top of that, they have a vehicle that they can chase us down in. It would eventually turn from a chase into a combat.
I think we've got it seems like we've got like a round of chase between us two and the hatchet man while the car gets itself sorted out. Then after that round, the car would be coming up, as you say, and we're into combat or surrender more likely.
Yeah, and even if the hatchet man, he's going to catch up to us in that round because he has 2 movement actions as opposed to our 1.
Yeah.
So I think we're good to call this there.
Yeah, makes sense.
So neither of them were very extended chases. But I mean, I don't know what your experience has been of running chases, both of you. But I've found this to be the case quite often, that you kind of think, oh, we're getting into a chase. This is going to be like, the James Bond opening scene where it's going to go from scene to scene to scene to scene. And that's great. Sometimes you get a bit of that. But often just because somebody is like taking great risk, bad things happen to the person who's trying to get away if they're desperate enough. And it can often turn out quite quickly like this.
Yeah, and both of those chases were, I mean, relatively really quick and painless. I mean, there wasn't a lot of issues mapping it out. We did the one that was completely off the top of our heads versus the one that had a couple of things that were already built. So you can really see that they can flow very fast and very easy and still remain extremely cinematic, even though they're points and action points. It's really not difficult once you have run a couple or been a part of a couple of them.
Yeah, I think it's like anything new, it takes a while to bed in, and and it is a process like all rules. You know, you follow the process, and the first few times you do it, it feels very processy because that's what you're focusing on. But once you get that process down and understand, okay, we need to make movement rolls, con rolls. We then just need to work out how many actions we've got, and then, you know, then we're off. Once you've got that process down, your mind then wanders into the narrative, and you start to actually focus on the story more. Just like, you know, the first time you run combat, you're focused on dice rolling, you're focused on the mechanics, the process. But when you know, we've all run 101 combats by the time, you know, now, it's second nature. So you're describing the cinematic nature of the combat, and it feels very natural, and everyone's on board. But you know, because chases are a little bit new and not as familiar, it feels very processy the first time you do it. But if you bear with it and, you know, do, as you say, 2 or 3 times and just work it through, you'll find very quickly, like you do with all other rules in a role-playing game, they become, you know, they become known to you in second nature. So
Yeah,
I think, yeah, that's, you know, that's fair.
I think, you know, just like in a combat, you know, if we're running a combat and I'm just looking around the room now, if somebody was running a combat in this room and you said, okay, well, I'm going to pick up the mic stand and try and like trip him up with it, you just, that's not really documented in the rule book, how you trip up somebody with a mic stand. But as keeper, if you've got a bit of experience, you'd improvise, you know, you'd work with that. You'd give them a dex roll or a,
you'd maneuver. You'd know, because you know what maneuvers are. You know that it's a non-lethal kind of combat action. That's a maneuver, right? Okay, we're good to go. You know, but you focus on the drama rather than the role, because you know what it is.
But what I'm sort of saying is, you know, in a chase, people might do things that you haven't quite sort of anticipated, but you can accommodate them. You know, you can just improvise a bit and accommodate them just the same as you would in a fight, you know. So unexpected things are going to happen. So don't stress over thinking that it's all got to be, you know, very regimented and done exactly according to, you know,
design
kind of
and
a
plan.
pre-expected design. Yeah,
I think we said at the start, you know, sometimes chases will just organically come out, and you want to, you know, experience them because you think there's some real kind of mileage in the drama of the chase, like we've done this evening. Sometimes it's actually you want it to be very quick, and actually you don't want to get into a big thing necessarily. So you just apply the game's mechanics, which in this case would be, well, I've got the choice to run the chase, or I just want to work out who's a bit quicker than the other person for this one little instant in the game. I'll just do an opposed dex roll,
and then hand wave it,
and then move it on, because that's because I'm focused on what's coming after that. This is more important to the scenario and me in this particular session, and I'll just move it on quickly like that. But otherwise, you know, this looks like a great potential for everyone to get involved and do something really cool. We'll have a chase, you know. I
just want to see what happens when you two, if you manage to outrun the cultist and you get down to the farm and there's the farmer there, and he's like, hello. Oh, that's a nice shiny dagger you got there. Where did you get that?
Well, he sees Baroness Blackstone running, waving this dagger. There's a cultist behind with a thing. I'm just screaming. He just right. This the nutter's coming. He just gets his shotgun out and starts pointing at one.
Get off my land! All right, guys.
You have that in Texas too.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. So
yeah.
Well, I wanted to say thank you again so much for sitting with me and explaining this and helping me get a little bit better of a handle. And I really hope that this is going to help some of our viewers out to be able to run some more cinematic chases and to be able to get a little bit firmer grasp on the rules. Anyways, thank you so much, and I will catch y'all again next time. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Paul. I hope you have a great day and great evening.
Yeah, same. Thanks very much. And yeah, it's been good fun.
My pleasure.
Enjoyed the chases. I thought they were great.
Hopefully Madam Blackstone will survive, and Mike. All righty, guys, take care. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
All right.